Hello, this is Greg Allison with Green Gregs. I have a question for you today. Is China poised to pounce? Are they ready to invade, to take Taiwan? What are they cooking up? We're going to take a look at amphibious and missile launcher vehicles that they are right now currently amassing on coastal cities and bases right across the strait in Taiwan. Why are they doing this right now? It's highly curious. But we also know that the Chinese have been training, supposedly taking some of the smaller islands in Taiwan. And also, to make it even more interesting, Taiwanese and PLA, People's Republic Army, which is the army of China, mainland China, I should say. We have two Chinas here. We have the People's Republic of China, the mainland, and the Republic of China, what we like to often refer to as the democracy on Taiwan, or in the nation of Taiwan, as we call it, which is also known as the island of Formosa. All right, what's going on? First, I should give you a disclaimer. There are really good people anywhere and everywhere in the world. So this is not about the people of China on either side, from the mainland or Taiwan. Well, yeah, it is in terms of what they may suffer, but this is not to disparage on people anywhere in general, the peoples. The parties, the political parties, are a wholly different matter. But the people in both mainland China and on the island of Formosa, there's a lot of good people there with good hearts, good intentions, who would just like to live a life, raise their families, and be prosperous. They would like to be left alone. They would like to have a peaceful, prosperous future. Unfortunately, politics gets in the fray, and things get ugly and turn gray. So I just want to let you know that we need to think about this when we talk these topics, and not be so judgmental against the peoples themselves. It's the parties, the politics that stir us all against each other, and that's most unfortunate. All right, having said that, let's proceed. So when I'm talking about China, quite often in this context, I'll be talking about the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP, as they are known to be by their name. I take some issue with what is really the political nature of that regime, and I have called that out in the previous video. Okay, all that said, hey, it may be now or never. Here's the thing to consider. China has been increasing in their economy for decades. They have had a miraculous growth in development of their economy and industry. It has been exploding just continuously for a very long time. China has now become the world's manufacturer. They have tons of factory capacity, which you should bear in mind what that means. Actually, the United States of America has never won any war except through attrition, because America's always outproduced its enemy. Well, here's a case where the top producer is mainland China, controlled by the CCP, of course. So that considered, they're really at their peak right now, and that peak might be falling off because suddenly there's trade embargoes. A lot of countries are turning disfavorable to China and looking for other sources. China had already started looking at outsourcing some other manufacturing just because their own labor costs were going up. And right now there's the floods, there's the plagues of grasshoppers, there's food shortages. They're due to floods and plagues of grasshoppers. A lot of people are unemployed because of the trade embargoes, because of the floods. But there's still a lot of latent factory capacity, which might soon start to diminish. The goodwill that China has known in the world has started to diminish. Now, China might turn around and try to rebuild that. They might try to, but it's going to take them decades. They have lost their momentum. So for now, for this generation, at least the next 10, maybe 20 years, they are at their peak in falling. Given that, there's tremendous pressure on the regime. Do they want to use the resources they have? Do they want to hit when the iron is hot? So these are things we're about to contemplate. The iron is hot. That means they have their best opportunity to do what they've been saying they're going to do for a long time. As in China's been claiming for a long time, they were going to take Taiwan back one way or another, by force if necessary. And so far, there are other measures that failed. So we're going to be getting into this. In the meantime, this really is the time that you need to consider prepping. I'm going to show you, though, before we go into this, I'm going to show you a picture of these bases. Here we go. This is one of the bases. Let me just blow this up here just a little bit. There we go. These are the amphibious vehicles, and I don't know, maybe some missile launchers in here. But this is what's been amassed in all the coastal bases. They're getting me more and more of these. This is my satellite photograph. So I'm going to get out of that one. Stop share. Just to give you a quick glimpse, we're going to go into some articles on this. I'll be talking about this stuff. Before we do, because of the tensions in the world, I mean, if they decide to invade Taiwan, will it draw the United States in? Will they decide to neutralize the United States before they start? Will they execute an EMP attack upon us? I've talked about this for some time. I've explored it in other videos. So it's a question, just a question. I'm not saying that any of these things will happen. It's just a question. But we live in uncertain times. We live in times where we are being challenged left and right by all kinds of things. So with that in mind, I highly encourage you to start prepping. If you've not stored food, if you've not got your supplies taken care of, then you need to really consider it. Look at this. This is prepwithgreg.com with Green Gregs. Yeah, see that guy there? You realize that's actually okra over my head? Some okra I grew in a garden I used to rent up in Taft, Tennessee. Yeah, that was taken a few years ago. Now my hair's a little bit shorter, but I had a beard, right? Well, guess what? The 2-week food supply is back online. No, excuse me, the 1-week emergency food supply. So if you want a 1-week, yeah, they changed it to, pardon me. If you want a 1-week emergency food supply, you can get a special deal there. Yeah, you can save money, but the real savings is if you buy the 4-week emergency food supply, you get $100 off right now. That's an amazing deal. Look at the meal, the meals. You can't beat 100. Look, it's 2,000 calories a day, 284 servings, breakfast, lunch, dinners, drinks. Hey, let's go ahead and look at some of this stuff. Yeah, see, this is yummy looking food. Quite a variety, good stuff. Even some chocolate pudding, orange drinks. So, you know, you also get your desserts. Yeah, we know things are closing. Stores, I've been talking about food shortages for some time. So you really can't beat that deal. They got great ratings here. To top it off again, I would say get them now while you can. We don't know how long the services will be available. If you get an EMP on this country, you're not going to be able to buy anything anywhere. What you got is all you got. Then you're really stuck. So now is a good time to shore up. I'm going to tell you, I'm really expecting food prices to soar. I'll do more videos on that in the not too distant future. And if you want more, you see where it says My Patriot Supply, see how the cursor changes to a finger? Click there. It will take you straight in. You get all kind of prepping supplies, survival items, air purification, water filtration. It's all here, my friends. And other long-term food storage. You want to buy a year's worth of stuff? Man, this is the place to get it. Look at all that. It comes in these nice, a lot of it comes in these nice, easy to carry buckets too. That's beautiful. So let's go over here and just kind of look at some of these other things. Here's an article. This is from an Australian news source. This shows the mobilization I was talking about. What you're going to find is, you know, you'll find some of your best news by going to foreign newspapers. You go to American news sources, you don't see any of this, or you can come to Green Gregs. I cover the stuff that you're not going to find in these other sources. I'm going to stop the share. We'll come back to this in a little bit, okay? Let's talk. Wag the dog. That's what we're worried about, right? So again, will China strike while the iron is hot? Will they or will they not? Oh, I can't have it. Anyway, so what you need to know is that, like I said, both forces have both countries, Taiwan, which is an independent republic, a Democratic Republic, mind you, have their forces right now in the South China Sea. China has been practicing invasions, reportedly, of the smaller islands of Taiwan. I'll show you those shortly. But again, those satellite images do show amphibious and vehicles and mobile missile launchers massing just right across the Strait of Taiwan in the coastal basins. And the CCP insists that Beijing is a breakaway province, that it is inviolate Chinese territory. Yeah, I get that. So, and just to further add to it, Beijing has repeatedly stated that it will use force if necessary to bring the island back under Beijing's control. Now, bear in mind, Taiwan has 25 million people. 25 million, not 1.4 billion as mainland China, but 25 billion is a significant country. These are people who love freedom, very much love freedom. They don't want any part of being under somebody's jackboot, if you know what I mean. But you know, the PLA is moving its forces, and apparently it's an ongoing thing. More and more stuff is being accumulated there, right across from the Strait of Taiwan. Chinese leader Xi Jinping said recently in a speech, a major speech, he said this. He says, "We make no promise to abandon the use of force and retain the option to take all necessary measures." So now the U.S. is starting to get involved in the process. The U.S. has stepped up surveillance in and around Taiwan. In fact, the U.S. has, in the month of July, put over 67 reconnaissance aircrafts in the air around the Taiwan airspace. 67 reconnaissance aircraft. So we're stepping up. We're helping Taiwan out. You know, we don't have, you know, the kind of treaty we have with NATO with Taiwan, but we had a treaty with them in the past, but we've kind of stepped it aside somewhat. But it's within the military culture of the United States that we would defend Taiwan. That's been the accepted political stance for a long time. Would we really? What would happen? Good question. And what we need to know is that there's been a lot of questions about that. You know, Taiwan doesn't have the forces near the number of military forces that is possessed by China. You know, Taiwan has, I don't know, some 350 odd aircraft, fighter craft, and China has 1,500. I believe Taiwan has 350. I'm not finding my figures on that, but Taiwan has like 1,500 available in that area. So, you know, there's a huge imbalance of forces. You know, Taiwan's got like 140,000 troops, and Taiwan's got over 1 million. So, but Taiwan has a lot of missiles that they would launch at mainland if they were attacked, and vice versa. It would not be a pretty picture. It would be a very ugly affair if the two tangled. So, now, there's some countervailing things. You know, Xi Jinping is making statements. Retired Major General, forgive me if I get the pronunciation wrong. My Chinese lingo is a little lacking. So the guy's name is spelled Q-I-A-O. Qiao Lang, L-I-A-N-G, Lang. He's a retired Major General of the People's Liberation Army, and he said that he's also in with Air Force, current Air Force General, Senior Colonel, excuse me, not General, Senior Colonel Dao Zhu. And these two are making statements, you know, saying, well, you know, China should not take Taiwan. Now, in China's a command society. They don't write things independently. So let's think about what it really means when he says this. He said, China's ultimate goal is not unification of Taiwan, but to achieve the dream of national rejuvenation so that all 1.4 billion Chinese can have a good life. You know, I hope that's true. I hope that's really where they're at. But how do you make sense of all the mobilization, the practices, the drills, the things that Xi Jinping is actually saying? Now, as I said, China's a command society. You know, even generals don't just run around writing things unless they're approved. Policy approved by the CCP, by Beijing, by even President Xi Jinping. So, with that said, what does that really mean? Could it be a part of Chinese philosophy, military philosophy of Sun Tzu? Sun Tzu says, if you're close, look like you're far away. If you're far away, look like you're close. Make the enemy always believe the opposite of what the reality actually is. So maybe they're saying these things just to get us to relax. You know, part of Sun Tzu is, oh, my friend, relax, sit down, lay back. Here, can I get you a drink? Can I get you a little snack? And then, you know, while you're all relaxed, they stab you in the back, right? So, with all that said, I would be very suspicious still. I would be on my awares, very much so. Maybe these guys are right. Let's hope and pray they are. Let's hope that's genuine. Let's hope that prevails. Better yet, let's hope the people of China somehow attain freedom and a system much more like the system in Taiwan. Then maybe they would happily reunify with no bullets fired. Wouldn't that be great? It would be the overthrow of the CCP. And it might happen because no Chinese regime has withstood a grand solar minimum. And right now, China is under tremendous stresses economically, environmentally, with the grasshopper, locust plague, with the floods of the Yangtze River Valley. Oh my gosh, it's horrible there. So here's the problem. Here's the problem. President Xi has, he's whipped up all kind of nationalist fervor in China. He's trying to distract his people from those major economic and mountain civil challenges that he's facing. Like I was just mentioning, the locusts that are coming in, the floods in the Yangtze River Valley. I mean, holy smoke, that place is a source of 40% of the economy in China. They produce 40%, it has 30% of the people, produces 40% of the factory produced goods and 40% of the agricultural output. It's a very productive region in China, yet it is flooded. It's a mess. And that's hurting the economy, it's hurting the people. Millions of people are displaced from their homes. Several people have died. It's not a pretty picture at all. So the unrest there is mounting. It is mounting fast. A lot of people are unhappy. And they're also unhappy because the world's unhappy with them. So that doesn't work. Chinese people like to be a happy people. Trust me. What's that little cat in the Chinese restaurants? What do they call that? There's a name for that. I don't remember it. But Beijing has had a two-pillar strategy. A strategy based on coercion and incentivization toward Taiwan to try to pull them in. Well, that's failed. So Beijing's main two policy pillars to bring Taiwan in has failed. So everything they've tried, everything they've hoped for has failed. So the real question is, given that, and given the tendencies that go on in the world, has Xi Jinping painted himself in a corner, especially with his nationalistic fervor that he's whipped up of late, with the things he said, including about taking Taiwan, when he has no other option. And it may be his last best chance to do so. He wants to be president for life, right? Or maybe that's under challenge now. Will he wag the dog? Will he, I don't know, will he strike while China is still at its peak or close to it? Before his regime is challenged, what will Xi Jinping do? We don't know. He's a man, I've told y'all many times that when you're a dictator, your primary objective is to maintain your power, and you will do it at all costs. And you don't become a dictator in a country without being a sociopath. That means you really don't care about the people. All you care about is yourself and your own power. And in a society, command society, without freedoms of redress, without freedoms of speech, petition, and all those things that we enjoy today that some people think we shouldn't have, that power is onerous. And you will always get a situation like that in a society without those freedoms and protections. That's why we need them. Contrary to some of the popular ill-informed philosophy that comes from our so-called education system, we pay so much money for. Anyway, you know, I've said it many times, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolute. He has a goal, makes the rule, and birds of a feather flock together. And those three dynamics working together will give you tyranny. And without the freedoms of redress, speech, petition, assembly, you have nothing but tyranny. You always get tyranny, especially in a one-party system, especially when one person can achieve so much power as Xi Jinping. So think about these things. Let's share it and look at a few articles real fast. I'll share a couple of pictures. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I got something to show you here. Hang on a second. I'm going to go into some articles real fast, and we will terminate this briefing. But again, here's the article that I came from with this stuff. Here's some of the Chinese leaders slamming Xi Jinping for his wolf warrior policies. And I'm not going to go into this, but you know, this is some of the generals I was talking about. This is from Australian news. You go to Taiwan news. Like I said, go to the alternate sources. And here's what's interesting. Whilst we had the highest American official to visit Taiwan in 41 years, our Secretary of Health and Human Services, Alex Azar, visiting Taiwan, the Chinese saw fit to cross the median in the Strait of Taiwan with jet fighters. You see, they are sending signals. They don't like us being there. And that's another sign that we're helping Taiwan. We're getting more involved with them. And we're doing that in part because we are at odds more so now with China than we've been since 1971. Just Nixon went there and tried to cut a peace deal with them to use them as leverage against the Soviet Union back in the day, because the Soviet Union was more powerful back in the day than China was. So it was Nixon's way to try to balance the power a little bit, hold Russia in check. I would say today we should make a peace treaty with Russia to hold China in check. Quite the opposite. We need to flip that, and Russia would be ready for that, because China has already put the claims on Vladivostok, but we've kind of forced the two into bed with each other. But Putin is not liking that at all, because he knows ultimately his big enemy, his main enemy, will be China wanting to take the unoccupied Siberia. Now, see, this is the island of Formosa. I don't know if it says that in here, but that is the island of Formosa, which forms the Republic of China. It's located here, as we popularly call it, Taiwan. And here are some of the islands that are still under their administration in this area. So these are some of the kind of islands that China is supposedly talking about taking. So let's hope that that's not true and they won't be shaken. So once again, I'll stop this share here. I do want you to consider right now that with everything upon us, no matter what comes down, you need to grow your own food. And you may not be able to get seeds. Stuff may happen this fall. We don't know what's happening this fall. I'm going to do a video, one of my next videos, sometime this week, today, tomorrow, by Thursday at the latest. I'm going to talk about the 5 things that we got to be most concerned about for the rest of this year. And there is a high prospect that things may go down and may go down hard. Several different forcing factors that we're facing this year. So I would advise you to buy seeds, buy as much seeds and garden equipment. I've done several videos about tools. You get ready, get hand tools, manual tools, garden tools, hammers, saws, nails, things that does not require electric power to operate. And buy your seeds, buy them now, store them, and buy enough for you and buy enough for your neighbors, so that you can help your neighbors grow. You can watch my videos on how to grow a garden. Watch them very much. Watch anything you can. Any channel about gardening, about wildcrafting, wild foods. Because if your neighbors know how to garden, they're less likely to come after you. And you also need to form your groups, your tribes. And so we'll be working that some more. Send your email if you want to join my tribe list. We're going to be facilitating people in groups. Email me at hal5space@aol.com. The link will be below this video. Put tribes in the subject line. If you're interested in my new Freedom Restoration Foundation, which I'll be coming out with a video to announce in the not too distant future, which we're going to be using to fight so that we maintain our freedoms in this country and around the world, then put freedom in the subject line. But do check my links below to True Leaf Market. That's the link you can use to buy seeds. You need heirloom seeds. It's for your family. If you don't know how important seeds are, go back and look down my videos and see my view about seeds of survival. They're very critical, especially right now. So my friends, I think we're done. I really appreciate everyone for joining with me today and watching this far. And I really wish everyone best to hang in there. This video is all about keeping your eyes wide open and head on a swivel. That's what this is about. So to let me know that you watched this to the end, say, Greg, I'm glad you put your hat on before the video was over. I don't know. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching.